Welcome back to Fiercely Unfiltered. I'm your host, Kelly Renee. And today I want to take a minute to celebrate that I am 1 year post-surgery for my spinal surgery. I had a multi-level disc replacement. It was between my C5 and C6 and C6 and C7. If you don't know what that is, your spinal cord is made up of a stack of bones. And between each bone is like a jelly donut. And it's the cushion, like the shock protector for your bones so they can move around and have mobility. And for mine, I was in a car accident, December 22nd, I believe it was, 2022. An old man without a license or insurance hit me over in the Canyon Lake Center and really messed me up. I didn't feel it right at first, but the next day I couldn't really move. It was my left arm that I was having the most trouble with. And I went to the doctor, got x-rays on my arm. They said, nothing's wrong with you. I said, my pain level is like a 1,000. So there is something wrong with me. So I wouldn't let them tell me there's nothing wrong with me. So they sent me to get an MRI. And what that MRI showed is that I had a herniated disc, that one of my discs kind of like popped. So like the jelly and the jelly donut was seeping out, which was leaving my bones to grind into each other and was also pinching on my nerve, which was affecting my left arm. I think it's crazy how something in your neck can affect your left arm not working. It was insane to me. But so then the process started with, they gave me steroid injections in my neck, which helped with the inflammatory and helped with the pinched nerve. So when I would get that shot, I could use my arm again. I got in my accident just a month after I started lifting weights. And I was determined not to let this derail me. I was also, my doctor said I should get surgery, but spine surgery is kind of scary. So I wanted to try other things. I didn't want to go straight to that because I know there's risk of being paralyzed, of being in more pain after the surgery, of the surgery not working. So I waited about a little over a year and a half of trying everything else. I have these patches I wear. I was wearing those to try and deal with pain. I was doing my Pilates. I was doing stretching. I was doing physical therapy. I was doing acupuncture, massages. I was doing everything I could do to manage the pain. And I've never lived with pain like I did. So now when people say, what's your pain level? It's like, it's manageable, because I've actually had pain that was not manageable. And it took a lot of my energy during the day just to manage that pain and be able to live with that pain. Having this surgery is one of the best decisions I made, because I'm a year from and I'm pain-free. Well, I'm not pain-free because I work out and I have pains and aches, but my arm works. I am no longer managing annoying pain on a daily basis, which is amazing. Like, I give credit for these people who have pain and they don't have a solution for it. Because I used to be like, how do you guys do all your stuff during the day in such pain? I never understood it until I was in the pain too. And it's the same answer people would give me. I'm in the pain no matter what. So I might as well be moving around and doing stuff that helps me take my mind off the pain. And I get it now, because I still golfed. I still worked out. It wasn't giving me as much results as I needed, because golfing, obviously, when you have nerve damage in your arm and your bones are grinding against each other in your spine, you're not going to have the best golf game. And also the same with working out. I still went to the gym and worked out, but I wasn't increasing in my weights like I am now. My nerve wasn't working properly, so certain muscles were taking the job up for other muscles, so I wasn't building like I should be if I wasn't in pain or if I wasn't hurt. So now my progress from the year since my surgery has been way faster, I guess, than the 2 years of me working out while I was injured. And 10 months or 9 months from my surgery, I had my show that I won. So, I mean, my surgery was great. And it does depend on the doctor you have too, because when I had mine done, a lot of people get fusions. And I was very active. My doctor was like, I was still 47, but he's like, you're still young to get a fusion. You're not going to be able to do all the stuff you want to do. You'll probably have to have another surgery in 10 years. So he let me do the replacement, where he dug out the old disc and he put in an artificial one, 2 of them. He actually grew like half an inch too because of that, which is pretty cool. But so those are in there and there's no fusion. So they just took the place of the other disc. And what's crazy is when I had my surgery, it was an overnight procedure. So I stayed till the next morning, but they went in through the front of my neck. I had a bandage on, but when he discharged me, he took the bandage off. I didn't have a neck brace. And he said, go live your life, but be careful. He said, make sure if you feel something, you stop, ease back into your workouts. But for golf, he said, at least take 3 months off golf. Golf is something that has the kind of motion that can knock that disc out of place before it's fully settled. So I think I took 3 or 4 months off because I was scared of having to have the procedure redone because he tells me that some people do mess it up and have to come back. And it even was more terrifying because my doctor was retiring. He retired a month after my surgery. I found out, it was just by luck I found him. I didn't really do a lot of research on doctors because I feel like when I put too much thought into it, I make the wrong decision. So this was one of the first doctors I called for my surgery. And he was a great doctor. I found out afterwards he was one of the best doctors in this field. So I got very lucky. And he also told me that a lot of people don't even get the option not to do the fusion. Doctors get paid more for doing the fusions. And people normally need more care and more surgeries after the fusions. So for some reason, those are more given or recommended more for some reason. But he cared more about my outcome and quality of life, which I thank him for that. Because not having the fusion and just having the replacement, like, it's amazing. And it's funny because the person who does my hair actually had another client who got the same surgery I did right around the same time. And the other patient had a neck brace on. The doctor told her she couldn't do anything for at least 6 weeks. She couldn't even get her hair done for 6 weeks. And I think I was 5 days post-surgery with my wound still open, sitting there getting my hair washed. And my hair girl was like, are you sure this is okay? Like, this other girl can't even come in for 6 weeks. I'm like, my doctor said move around. These discs are meant to be moving. And if I can't get my hair washed, I'm in trouble. So the surgery, it's crazy how different doctors have different protocols and how doctors really are the ones who help you fight for your care. Like my procedure for the replacement was denied at first. They needed my doctor to go in front of a board. It was a phone call, but in front of a board and fight why I needed the replacement instead of the fusion. And he did it and it got approved. And I was able to get the replacement and not the fusion, which is ideal situation for anyone who's active and who's young enough that they'll still be alive in 10 years, where they might have to have another surgery. And they say it's about, I think, 25% of people who get the fusion done have to get another surgery again. And with this, it's way less. I think they said like 5% or 3% or something like that. So it is a better procedure. So if you're in the situation where you have disc problems and you're going to have to get replacements or fusion, fight for a full replacement and not a fusion. Your doctor might tell you no at first. It's because he's getting paid more, is what I heard is why they do that. So fight for yourself a little bit more, do the research, find out the difference, because I heard it's a way less quality of life if you get the fusion, especially in your 40s, because you're probably going to have multiple other surgeries. And that's another thing with this. Like, I was in a car accident with someone who had no insurance, no job, no means of anything to help with any of the damages he caused. And thank God I had uninsured motorist insurance and good medical insurance, because my surgery was over $200,000 and I didn't have to pay any of it because I had such great health insurance at the time. But I know there's times when people don't have health insurance because they can't afford it. And I can't imagine if I didn't have health insurance when I got in this accident. I'm VA, so I always have veterans insurance too. But during this time, I had private insurance through my job. So I had PPO, so I was able to go whatever doctor I wanted. It wasn't having to go through the VA with the primary care and do all that. So it worked out great for the situation I was in. I mean, it never works out great to have surgery or an accident. But it's another thing, like I was living by myself. I was single on my own. That was another big factor of me having this surgery. Like, what if something happened and I was paralyzed, or I was in more pain, I couldn't take care of myself? Who would take care of me? How would I pay someone to come take care of me? Because I don't have anyone who could just stop their life and come care for me. And that's a scary place to be. I know that's one of the securities of being married, that you always have someone to help you. But I mean, I don't know if that's necessarily true, if everyone's capable of helping people when they get in situations like this. But it's a big decision to have surgery. But I actually probably should have had the surgery sooner than I did, because when I first got my accident, I had one herniated disc. But because I waited a year and a half, and because I didn't stop my activities, the one below it deteriorated too, because there was more pressure put on that because the one above it wasn't working properly or was already popped. It was the jelly donut, had no jelly in the middle. So the one below it started having to overwork, and then it got herniated too. So then I had to have two replacements. So it was a multilevel. And if I would have got it done sooner, I would have only had one. But my doctor, part of the reason why I got it done is because my doctor's like, the longer you wait, you could have another herniated disc after this because it's going to be overworking. And you're only going to be able to be back to as good as you were when you had the surgery. So if you have 3 discs that have to get replaced, you're not going to be as good as you could have been if you only had 2, which if you only had 1. So me waiting and being stubborn about the fact made it cause more damage. But for it to be such a big surgery on your spine, because I know it's not a big percentage that things go wrong, but there is that percentage. And I've always been in my life like, this has never happened before. I can't believe it happened. So I've always been that person, except win the lottery or anything. So I just had to really take in account if the risk was worth it. But the pain was so much that the risk was worth it. To not have to live in pain every day and to have a big chance of it being successful was a better option for me than spending so much energy managing pain on a daily. So now I'm back to my golf game. I'm golfing all the time now. I'm trying to get better. And then I'm also still working out. It's such a better experience working out when you're not fighting pain or fighting against your body because it's not working properly. So that's why I take care of myself now. That's why I do the patches, the peptides. I'm trying to be proactive, because if I was in better shape when I got in this accident, maybe it wouldn't have done so much damage. But then I also think if I would have stopped working out when I got in my accident and let myself deteriorate for another year and a half before I got my surgery, my recovery might have took a lot longer. But I fought through the pain and I worked out for that year and a half till I had the surgery. So I was strong and my body recovered great from the surgery. And I was back working out a week later. Of course, I did lower workouts more and worked into the upper workouts. But like I said, I did my show 9 months after my surgery and I won. So if anyone's scared about getting a procedure done that they need to make them have a better quality of life, just make sure you pick the right doctor, because research says that the biggest factor in a successful surgery is the doctor and how educated he is and how many surgeries he's performed, because someone who performs more surgery is normally better at it. So make sure you pick the right doctor, but don't let fear stop you from getting a procedure you need to have a better quality of life. Until next time.